Hey guys, John here from Bring the SEO. Today I'm going to do something pretty special. I think you'll all enjoy this one. I'm going to be touching on the way in which I assess keyword difficulty. This is part of my keyword research strategy that I've never shared before. This is something that I've been doing for probably over 10 years. I think for those of you who become confused and frustrated when it comes to keyword research, and especially assessing as to whether or not you can actually rank for a keyword, you're going to really enjoy this one. And I'm pretty certain that after you watch this video, so long as you watch it all the way through to the end, you will never do keyword research the same way ever again. So I know that's a big claim. Stick with me. I'm going to show you my entire strategy. Let's jump into it. Okay guys, before I get into this, I want to spend just a moment to take you through a couple of quick slides that highlight the issues that exist with traditional keyword research, right? I don't know about you guys. For me, keyword research is my least favorite activity. Just the thought of having to dig through hundreds, if not thousands of keywords, whether it be looking at statistical information, data, numbers within software or spreadsheets, just the thought of it does my head in. So I want to take a minute to provide some context around the problems that exist with keyword research before we get into the solution. To begin with, why are we doing keyword research in the first place? Well, that's pretty obvious, right? We want to find keywords with search volume that we can actually rank for in order to help our clients get more targeted organic search traffic. It starts, step one, research. It starts at this point. So you research keywords of interest based upon the client's industry and what products or services they're wanting to rank for, right? That's pretty obvious. You then go about using tools like SEMrush and Ahrefs to reverse engineer competitors and check a whole bunch of other SEO metrics. It's like search volume, intent, commercial viability, and keyword difficulty. Now this right here is where it starts to get a bit weird. Step two, the analysis phase, right? This is where you've got yourself a bunch of keywords of interest and you might then go about exporting those keywords down into a Google sheet, full of pretty colors and fancy columns and cells. You then go about performing calculations based upon things like domain authority, number of referring domains, and a whole bunch of other metrics to determine viability, right? Now when I say determine viability and analyzing things like domain authority and number of referring domains, usually this feeds into getting some sort of insights as to whether or not you can actually rank for that particular term. I'll circle back to that in just a minute, but this is fairly typical, right? Like I said, there's a million videos on YouTube about this. You've got to pull the data down out of SEMrush and you've got to put it into this special sheet that I've put together, and it automatically populates these cells. And if the cell goes green, we can rank for the term. And if it goes orange or red, that's going to be really difficult. And there are plenty of tools, let's face it, there are plenty of tools around that have, keyword difficulty metrics built into the tool. All of that stuff is nonsense, but I'll come back to that in just a minute. We then go about performing further analysis to understand what kind of content to create based upon additional researching of the SERPs, right? And this is where we go to the SERPs. We go, okay, what sort of content is actually ranking? Should we create a blog post? Should this be a service page? Should this be a product page? It really depends on not only the keyword, but also the industry. Okay, step three, create. We've done all of this work. We've performed research. We've looked at all of the metrics. Everything looks peachy. We've got our, list of keywords put together. We're now in the stage of moving ahead in terms of creating content, right? And this is where we go about instructing the team to create content in line with our performed keyword research and analysis. And from there, once we hand over the work order to the content team, they then go about researching the topic, assessing competitors, sourcing images, creating several pieces of well thought out, high quality pieces of written content. Okay, and this is fairly typical. And next, publishing. Okay, this is probably the final stage. We get the content back from the team. We then go about or begin the publication process. Right, we get the content back, we upload it, We go about publishing, formatting the text. We perform our on-page optimization, meta tags, header tags, title tags, all of that good stuff. Description tags, we go about adding imagery, internal links. We might upload things like videos and PDFs or other assets to give the content depth. We double check everything. We publish, then we submit to Google Search Console. We go live after we've done all of this work. And guess what usually happens next? The content you spent all that time on researching, analyzing, checking metrics, creating, publishing, and all of that other bullshit lands on page 5 of Google. And then you realize, wow, that was pretty fucking dumb. I've just spent all this time analyzing all of this data, checking all of these metrics, doing everything I possibly can to ensure the keywords that we've chosen we can actually rank for. We've then done all of this work, we've created all of this content, and it's landed back on page 5 or page 10 or page 7. And you'll probably sit there thinking to yourself, well, hang on a minute. Ahrefs said this had a low keyword difficulty rating, or SEMrush said that I could quite easily rank for this term. And that's our next question, right? Why does this happen? The answer to this is very simple. The data you've been analyzing is completely inaccurate and misleading, especially tools that provide metrics that measure keyword difficulty. And like I said just a minute ago, I'm sure that if you searched, keyword research or keyword difficulty here on YouTube, you'll get 1,000,001 videos where everyone's doing the same thing. You've got to pull the data down into this spreadsheet. You can download the spreadsheet, click on the link below. If the cells go green, that means we can rank for the term. You've got to look at KD within Ahrefs. All of that stuff is absolute nonsense and a complete waste of time. So what's the solution? Okay, let's think about this, right? What do we want to have happen? In an ideal situation, we want to be able to avoid all of that wasted time, effort, money, and everything else, so that we can only focus on creating content for keywords that we can actually rank for, right? That then means, of course, that we want to avoid wasting time with keywords that we'll struggle to rank for. We want to focus on keywords that we can rank for before creating content. We want to avoid wasting the client's budget. And more importantly, we want to get the client results as fast as possible. Now, think about this. How great would it be to have 100% certainty that we can actually rank for a keyword before we do anything at all? No research, no creating content, nothing. We know in advance, hey, yes, we can actually rank for this term before we do anything. Let me show you how. Okay, so for the purpose of this demonstration, I've gathered together a number of keywords or terms that I, at least for this example, might be interested in ranking for. I haven't done any research on these terms. I don't know how much search volume they have. Obviously, if you're doing any form of keyword research, you want to be targeting keywords that actually have search volume, at the very least. Okay, I'm going to be demonstrating, or what I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to be demonstrating this using my own website with these keyword terms. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is go into WordPress, and I'm going to go down to settings, permalinks. Okay, now for the purpose of this demonstration, we're going to be using the blog. You can use pages, you don't have to use the blog. This is just the way I do it because I find it's easiest. Under custom structure, you can see I've changed the permalink structure to category post name. Okay, you'll see why in just a second, but that's where you should start. Obviously, don't be changing the permalink structure if you're working on a client site, if it means you're going to break something. Okay, you'll need to take these things into account. Okay, so next, with the permalink structure, with this in place, I'm going to go up to posts, and I'm going to go to categories, and I'm going to create a new category. I'm going to call it staging. Okay, the category name is staging, the slug is staging, no parent category, add new category. That's it. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to work my way through each of these keywords, and be mindful, these are primary terms. Okay, I'm going to go through each of these keywords and I'm going to be looking for secondary terms, right? And this will all make sense in just a minute. But let's start with the first one, SEO training. Okay, let's do just this one. In the US, let's search for this and see if we can get some additional or related terms. Okay, now we can see here, SEO training course, SEO training courses, SEO training online, free SEO training course. Great, that'll do us. So we'll grab these. And I like to get, maybe probably 4 or 5 secondary terms, right? And you'll see why in just a second. Okay, so that'll probably do us. SEO training. So we got our primary term, and we've got 4 secondary terms. Okay, that'll do for the moment. You could, of course, get a couple more if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter. But that's all we're going to do at this stage. And as you can see, there's a little bit of search volume around these other terms, right? 480, 390, 320, 1300, and so forth. Okay, so once we're back at WordPress, we're going to go to all posts, and we're going to create a new post. Okay, so for the first one, SEO training, we're going to use that as part of our title. And in fact, let's make it even easier. Let's go to Google. Let's take a look at some of the titles that are already ranking on the first page. Free SEO course, SEO strategy, top search engine optimization, SEO. Okay, so this one here by Ahrefs. This one looks pretty good. Let's take a look at that. All right, so let's go back. SEO training now. What I want to do here is make sure that I lead with the primary term. In this case, SEO training, complete SEO course, learn SEO for free. We can leave it there, that'll do. Now, for the next step, I'm going to use ChatGPT to do this. Now, before everyone loses their mind and says, wait a minute, you can't use ChatGPT, AI content, the world's going to end. That's all nonsense. It only becomes problematic if you're producing a shitload of content at scale, large volumes of content in a short period of time. I never had the luxury of having ChatGPT when I first started using this strategy, but now we've got it, we may as well use it. So what I'm going to do is go over to ChatGPT, and I'm going to ask it to create let's make it 900 word article on SEO training. Now, I'm just going to let it do its thing. We're not going to wait. Well, actually, we might wait for a second and see how long this takes. But just be mindful, I don't really care about the quality of the content right now. All I want is some content, and that is it. We may as well just wait for this to finish. Once we've got this content, we'll paste it in, and then we'll do a few other things. Okay, great. So we've got our content, that'll do. Let's copy this. We don't need the title, so we'll just grab that. We'll go back in and we'll just dump that straight in. All right, well, we're done. Okay, so before we publish this, of course, we want to do a little bit of optimization. And we'll change up the URL and do a few other things. But the first thing we want to do is, actually, we may as well just start at the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to select staging as our dedicated category, right? Remember, we created a staging category just a minute ago. We want to change it at the moment. It's /resources. So we want to change that and make it staging. Okay, so we've done that, right? Now let's edit the URL, and we'll clean up the URL so that it only includes our primary term. Okay, so as you can see, I now have bringtheseo.com /staging SEO training. Brilliant. Okay, so next steps, we're going to create some dummy images that we're going to dump into this article in order to make the article look legitimate. Now, it's really important that when you create these images, you go back to your keyword list and use the primary and secondary terms as your image file names. Okay, let's jump in. I'll show you how to do it. Okay, so I'm just going to create some images here, 800 by 600. That'll do. Let's make them gray so we can at least see them on screen. Now this one, I'm going to call this one, I'm going to save this on the desktop and let's call it SEO training because that's our primary term. Okay, and what's the next one? SEO training course is the next one, so we'll name it SEO training course, file, save as. We'll put our hyphens in here so it's all fine and dandy. Brilliant. Next one, SEO training course, SEO training courses. Okay, so the reason we're doing this is because we want relevancy. Right, we want Google to scan the page and say, okay, well, this page definitely feels like it's relevant for this particular term. Of course, you can always use related searches within the SERPs. There's plenty of different ways you can get secondary terms. Probably don't need to show you any of that, but this is what we're going to do for now. SEO training online, great. And what's the last one? Free SEO training course. Well, okay, we could argue that's not really a commercial term, but who cares? Just for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to add it in. Okay, free SEO training course. Bingo. All right, we're done. Okay, so now we're going to go back to WordPress, and the first thing I'm going to do is set my featured image. Now, I'm going to set my featured image as the primary term. In this case, SEO training, if I can find it. Okay, SEO training, bingo. Okay, because we want this image at the top. Okay, so we've done that, perfect. And now we've got 4 other images, remember, because we're going by these we've got 4 secondary terms. So let's take a look at our article and figure out placement. Okay, so I'm guessing maybe if we can get one at the top here. So add media, upload files. What's the next one we've got? SEO training course. All right, so we're done. We've created our piece of content. We've got a optimized title. Our URL is optimized. We've assigned it to the staging area. Everything's pretty much right to go. The next thing I want to do is I want a keyword rich and SEO optimized title, meta description tag. So for that, easy. Let's go back to the search results and let's see what we can find in here. SEO marketing certification, introductory. Okay, what I'm looking for in particular here are the bolded terms because I want relevance, anything that really jumps out. So I like this one here from LinkedIn. This is pretty good. So there's a couple of different terms in there. We'll just grab that. You could probably use ChatGPT to rewrite this. Let's just do it for shits and giggles. Actually, no, I won't do that because it could spit out all sorts of nonsense. Our search engine optimization online training courses from, let's just make minimal changes. The reason I decided against pushing that through ChatGPT is because I don't want it to strip out those relevant terms. So we'll do it manually just to make sure that we preserve those terms. Our search engine optimization online training courses from Bring the SEO Learning. Actually take learning out. From Bring the SEO provide you with the skills you need. Okay, great. That'll do us. Now we'll just double check some of this other stuff in here, make sure that it should all be crawlable and indexable and everything else. I can see the preview of my title tag, meta description tag. from what I can tell, everything should be good. I don't think I've missed anything. I'm sure if I have, you'll tell me. But for the sake of it, let's just let it rip. Publish. Okay, so I've now published a piece of dummy content in a staging environment. In any case, let's now go and have a look at our piece of content. Okay, brilliant. SEO training, complete SEO course, learn SEO for free. I've got my content now. I've got my images in place. Everything looks fine and dandy. Right. Okay, next step, we're going to head over to Search Console. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to submit this URL into Google. Why? Because I want to see where the damn thing lands before I do anything else. Researching, measuring keyword difficulty, creating content. I don't want to do any of that. I want to go straight to Google and I want to have Google tell me, can I rank for this term, yes or no? Let's try that again. Okay, so this is the term. Let's give it a whirl. It should tell me that it's not indexed in Google. Great. Staging, SEO training. It's not there. Request indexing. Testing if live URL can be indexed. Okay, great. Indexing requested. URL was added to priority crawl queue. Submitting a page multiple times will not change, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's dismiss that. We've done our bit here. That's it. Now, of course, we would repeat that same process. Everything I've just shown you using dummy content, dummy images, setting up a keyword-rich, optimized page in a staging environment, following the exact steps like I just showed you, getting their primary and secondary terms, adding in our images and everything else. We would repeat that same process for all of the keywords that we're interested in ranking for. Now, what's the next step? You probably think, well, what happens next? Well, the next step is pretty simple. You go and make yourself a cup of coffee and you wait 15 minutes and you come back and you check the SERPs to see where it landed. Okay, so I've got my coffee. Let's jump straight into it and begin the next steps. So obviously we'll need to wait for the content to be crawled and actually indexed in Google. This took a little bit longer than expected. I had to actually wait overnight for the 4 pieces of test content to be actually added to Google's index. Just wanted to give full transparency there. So if you don't see the content within 10-15 minutes, don't panic. It might take a little while for it to crawl an index. In any case, these are the 4 keywords that I've used for the purpose of this demonstration. SEO training, SEO private coaching, SEO mentoring, and best SEO course. Now, what I've done is I've copied the titles of each of these articles, this test content that I've created. And the first step, of course, is to just confirm. We want to double check and make sure each of these articles has actually been indexed or added to Google's index. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy each of these. I'm going to put it inside bunny ears because I want the exact title and I want to confirm that each of these articles has actually been added to Google's index. So the first one, SEO training, complete SEO course, learn SEO free. Bingo, that's been added. There it is. Let's do the next one. SEO private coaching, personalized approach. Perfect. Next one, SEO mentoring. Okay, great. Should you invest in professional mentorship? Perfect. And the last one, best SEO course. Okay. All right, brilliant. So all four of those articles have been added to Google's index. So the next step is really straightforward. What I want to do next is I want to go through each of these keywords to see where they've landed. Okay, because again, we don't want to waste all of this time doing the research, analysis, mucking around in Google Sheets, creating content or doing any of that other nonsense if we don't stand a chance on ranking for certain terms. So this one here, I had a quick look at these earlier this morning And from what I can tell, I'm nowhere for these terms, for this one in particular, SEO training. I'm guessing this would be a hard term to rank for, but I go through some of the results here. Like I said, I had a quick look at this, and yes, I understand that I could be using a tool to check for rankings, but I'm not going to do that. So, I'm like 3 or 4 pages deep here, and there's no sign of me. I'm searching for Bring the SEO, right? So it would be fair to say, right, it's probably obvious that I'm not going to rank anytime soon for SEO training without a little bit of work. Okay, so I've just gone like 5 or 6 pages deep. We're nowhere for that term. Okay, great. We've learned something. Right, let's now try the next one, SEO private coaching. SEO private coaching. Okay, bingo. There we are. SEO private coaching. We're in position 2 for that term. So that is fantastic. We now know in advance that we can actually rank for this term, which is perfect. I can now go about instructing my team to create a proper piece of content. We can then spend the time knowing in advance that we're actually going to rank for that term. We can create a solid piece of content. We'll repurpose this piece of content here. We'll essentially fix it up and make it a legitimate piece of content, and then we'll simply redirect it from the staging environment over to the blog or within a page wherever we might need it. But that right there is a perfect example. We know with absolute certainty now that we can rank for SEO private coaching. Perfect. Okay, let's try SEO mentoring. Let's see where we are for that one. SEO mentoring. Okay, not on the first page. Okay, here we are here, SEO mentoring. So we're in position, where are we? Let's count them out. So we're in position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, skip the ad, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We're in position 16, so that's not too bad. This is where you'd need to make the decision. Should we spend more time on this? For this one, given that we're pretty close to first page, I probably would, right? I would definitely shortlist this, spend the time to build that content out, and 301 it over into the live environment. So even though we're not on first page, this one still shows good potential, so we'll definitely go ahead with that one. Okay, the next one, best SEO course. I actually had a sneak look at this one this morning and I couldn't see it anywhere. Again, we'll just have a quick look. I'll go a few pages deep. In fact, if I remember, I think this was like buried way back on let's just go through here. I think it was like page 10 or something. In any case, again, we've saved ourselves an incredible amount of potentially wasted time. So here it is here. So what did I do there? I probably went about 5 or 6 pages deep. So that one there is probably not something I'd want to spend too much time on. Obviously, I understand that we can do, some off-page and drive links at it to move them up. But for quick wins, in order to answer the question, can we actually rank for this term? Then there's no better way of doing it. Okay, so we now know, before we've really done too much at all, that we can definitely rank out of these 4 terms. We can absolutely, certainly rank for SEO private coaching, SEO mentoring. We're pretty close to first page, so we'd shortlist that one. SEO training and best SEO course, we're absolutely nowhere for either of those, so we'd probably put those to the side. Okay, I'm going to share just a couple of final thoughts with you now. A few things that you need to be mindful of before you start going crazy with this method. Okay, so as you all saw, pretty straightforward. Nothing difficult about it. Before wrapping this video up, however, I want to touch on a couple of really important keynotes that you need to take into account before you start implementing this strategy. Firstly, confirm the ranking. Then create content and fix the content that you have uploaded within the staged environment. Okay, you want to make this a priority. You don't want staged content sitting there for months. Okay, so once you know you can rank for a particular term, prioritize your efforts, get your content team onto it, as quickly as possible, and then go about changing it over and performing the 301. Okay, next point is keep the staging environment hidden. You don't want any internal links or navigation pointing anywhere to the staging environment. The staging environment has one purpose. Can we rank for this term? Yes or no? That's it. One quick side note there. You don't have to use staging in the URL. Now that I've shared this strategy, I can see everyone using /staging. Okay, and we're going to get into a situation where people are going to be performing searches within Google looking for in URL staging. Okay, so use your own term or phrase for your staging environment. The next thing, and this is, I really want to stress this, guys, right? Don't abuse this method. Test no more than 4 or 5 keywords at a time. You want to perform a test, and you want to test quickly, and you want to remove that stuff from the staging environment, okay? You definitely do not want a client finding test content, okay? Because they're going to be, I can only imagine, that would be probably more than upset if you go about, publishing 60 pieces of content in a staging environment and the client finds it, okay? So be sensible with this, guys. Don't abuse it. So for me personally, I only did a handful, 3, 4, maybe 5 pieces of content. Once I've had completed the test, I'd pull that content down and then perform my 301s. Make sure, and this ties in with what I just said, remove all tests in a timely manner. You don't want staging and staged content sitting there for 6 months. And lastly, make sure that you perform your 301 redirects for all successful tests to the live website. Okay? Hope you've all enjoyed this one. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and do all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers. Hey, if you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to learn more, head over to bringtheseo.com. We provide business development training for SEO consultants wanting to improve their processes, increase profits, and scale to $100,000 a month or more without all the stress and overwhelm.